Remember those lost church recipes from the 1950s potluck table that brought everyone together? These dishes were the soul of community gatherings, made with care and shared with love. What caused these cherished meals to fade away? Cucumber and onion salad was a staple at many church potlucks in the 1950s. This dish combined thinly sliced cucumbers and onions tossed in a vinegar-based dressing that gave it a crisp and tangy flavor. Often made with simple ingredients like sugar, salt, and dill, it was refreshingly light and perfect for balancing heavier main dishes. The salad's straightforward preparation made it an accessible option for many home cooks, especially during times when budgets were tight. Its popularity stemmed from both its taste and the fact that it could be made in large batches to feed a crowd. Served chilled, it provided a cool contrast to warm casseroles and baked goods common at potluck tables. This salad was easy to transport and did not require heating, which was important for church events held in community halls or fellowship rooms. Families often brought their own variations, sometimes adding a pinch of mustard seed or fresh herbs to make it their own. It captured the spirit of simplicity and shared enjoyment that defined 1950s church meals, making it a beloved side dish that many fondly remember from those gatherings. Cheese and pineapple skewers were a popular appetizer that combined sweet and savory flavors in a bite-sized form. These skewers typically featured cubes of sharp cheddar cheese paired with juicy chunks of pineapple threaded onto toothpicks or small wooden sticks. The contrast between the tangy cheese and the tropical sweetness of the pineapple made for an appealing taste experience that was easy to enjoy while mingling at potluck socials. This simple yet elegant dish was quick to prepare and transport, making it a favorite among church members tasked with bringing something festive and shareable. The bright colors of the golden pineapple and pale cheese also added a cheerful touch to the food table, helping to create a welcoming atmosphere. Many cooks used canned pineapple for convenience, especially during winter months when fresh fruit was less available. Despite its simplicity, cheese and pineapple skewers represented the kind of thoughtful, crowd-pleasing dishes that helped build community spirit in mid-century church gatherings. Their popularity endured because they required minimal effort but delivered maximum enjoyment to guests. Baked spaghetti casserole was a hearty and satisfying dish that quickly became a crowd favorite at 1950s potlucks. This casserole combined cooked spaghetti noodles with a tomato-based sauce, often enriched with ground beef or sausage and plenty of cheese to bind it all together. The entire mixture was baked until bubbly and golden on top, making it a warm, comforting meal that fed many with a single dish. Because it could be assembled ahead of time and easily reheated, it was a practical choice for busy families contributing to church dinners. Ingredients were typically budget-friendly and accessible, allowing cooks to stretch ground meat by combining it with pasta and vegetables like onions or green peppers. This casserole also appealed to children and adults alike, with its familiar flavors and satisfying texture. It was often served alongside salads, breads, or vegetable sides to round out the meal. Baked spaghetti casserole embodied the potluck spirit of sharing and community nourishment, reflecting the wholesome, home-cooked meals cherished in that era. Cheese and olive relish trays were a simple yet effective way to encourage conversation and sharing at church potlucks. These trays typically featured a selection of cubed or sliced cheeses alongside an assortment of olives, pickles, and sometimes pepperoncini peppers. Arranged attractively on a platter, this combination invited guests to nibble and mingle as they sampled different flavor pairings. The salty, briny taste of olives complemented the creamy, mild cheese varieties, offering a balance of textures and tastes that were appealing and easy to eat with fingers or small forks. These relish trays required little preparation, but made a big impact by adding variety to the potluck spread. They were particularly popular because they did not need heating and could be prepared well in advance, making them convenient for busy hosts. The trays also reflected the growing interest in appetizer-style foods during the mid-20th century, as Americans explored new ways to entertain and socialize around food. Chili cheese dip was a warm, comforting dish that brought a touch of spice to many 1950s church gatherings. Made by combining melted cheese with chili powder, sometimes canned tomatoes or beans, and other seasonings, it created a rich and flavorful dip perfect for serving with crackers or toasted bread. This dish was especially popular during colder months, providing both warmth and heartiness in a convenient form. Chili cheese dip was easy to prepare in advance and kept warm in a slow cooker or oven, making it ideal for potlucks where dishes needed to stay ready for several hours. It appealed to those who enjoyed bold flavors but was mild enough to suit a wide range of tastes. The dish represented a growing trend in American cooking to incorporate more spicy and southwestern influences, expanding the flavor horizons of traditional church fare. Chili cheese dip's popularity endured because it combined familiarity with a little excitement, making it a beloved party staple of the era. Raisin and nut salad was a sweet and textured dish that balanced dried fruits with crunchy nuts, typically served cold at 1950s potlucks. This salad often included raisins, chopped walnuts or pecans, and sometimes shredded celery or apples, all tossed in a light mayonnaise or cream-based dressing. The combination of chewy raisins and crunchy nuts created an appealing contrast that was both satisfying and refreshing. It was an affordable and easy-to-make side dish that added a touch of sweetness to the potluck table without overpowering other flavors. The salad's cool temperature and rich texture made it a welcome complement to hot casseroles and savory mains. Families often passed down their own recipes with small variations, such as the addition of pineapple or marshmallows. This dish captured the nostalgic comfort of mid-century American cooking, where mixing fruits and nuts into salads was a popular way to add variety and nutrition. It remains a fondly remembered part of church potluck history for many. Potato salad with dill pickles offered a tangy twist on the classic potato salad and was a beloved side dish at 1950s church potlucks. This recipe typically combined boiled potatoes with mayonnaise, chopped dill pickles, onions, and sometimes hard-boiled eggs, creating a creamy yet zesty flavor profile. The inclusion of pickles added a crisp acidity that brightened the dish and balanced the richness of the dressing. Potato salad was practical and inexpensive to make in large quantities, making it ideal for feeding many at social gatherings. It could be prepared ahead of time and served chilled, which was convenient for church potluck events where refrigeration space might be limited. The salad paired well with a variety of main courses, from barbecue meats to baked casseroles, making it a versatile choice. Its popularity was boosted by its familiar flavors combined with a small element of surprise thanks to the dill pickles. This potato salad remains an iconic part of mid-century American communal dining experiences. Jellied chicken salad was a quintessential 1950s dish that combined cooked chicken with vegetables set in a savory gelatin mold, reflecting the era's fascination with molded salads. This dish often included diced chicken, celery, onions, and sometimes nuts or chopped pimentos, suspended in a flavorful gelatin base made from chicken broth and unflavored gelatin. Served cold and sliced, it was both a visual centerpiece and a tasty salad that showcased creativity in presentation. Jellied chicken salad was often made in advance, allowing flavors to meld and the gelatin to set firmly, making it practical for potlucks and large gatherings. Though it might seem unusual today, at the time it represented a sophisticated and modern way to serve cold salads. The dish balanced texture and flavor with a slightly savory taste and a firm yet tender mouthfeel. Its popularity was tied to the post-war era's emphasis on convenience, novelty, and communal sharing, making it a memorable part of many church potluck tables. Corn pudding with creamed corn was a smooth and sweet casserole that often appeared as a comforting side dish during 1950s church potlucks. This pudding combined creamed corn with eggs, milk, sugar, and sometimes butter or flour, baked until set and golden on top. Its creamy texture and mild sweetness made it a perfect complement to savory mains, adding a gentle richness to the meal. Corn pudding was appreciated for its simplicity and ability to stretch a small amount of corn into a satisfying dish for many guests. It was a practical recipe that could be prepared ahead and baked at the potluck location or brought ready to serve. The dish reflected the era's fondness for casseroles that combined convenience with homey flavors. It was particularly popular in regions where corn was a dietary staple and represented the comfort of familiar, unpretentious cooking shared among church families. Barbecue meatballs were small, flavorful morsels coated in tangy barbecue sauce that made them a popular choice for 1950s church gatherings. These meatballs were typically made from ground beef or pork mixed with breadcrumbs, eggs, and seasonings, then baked or fried before being simmered or tossed in barbecue sauce. Served warm and often with toothpicks, they were easy to eat while socializing and required no utensils. Their rich, smoky flavor and sticky glaze appealed to a wide audience and added a bit of hearty indulgence to potluck tables. Barbecue meatballs were practical for feeding large groups because they could be made in batches and kept warm in slow cookers or chafing dishes. They showcased the mid-century love for barbecue flavors while adapting well to the communal and casual nature of church dinners. Their popularity endured because they combined familiar comfort food with convenient presentation, making them a cherished recipe from the era. Cabbage and noodle salad was a favorite at many 1950s church potlucks, offering a light yet satisfying option among the heavier dishes. This salad combined tender-cooked noodles with finely shredded cabbage, tossed together in a simple dressing usually made from vinegar, oil, and sugar to balance tanginess and sweetness. Sometimes carrots or onions were added to enhance texture and color. The salad's crisp cabbage contrasted nicely with the softness of the noodles, creating a refreshing dish that complemented meat-heavy entrees. It was economical to prepare, feeding large groups with minimal ingredients, which made it especially popular during times when budgets were tight. Often served cold, cabbage and noodle salad could be made ahead and easily transported to potluck events. Its simplicity and wholesome flavor made it a comforting reminder of home cooking, cherished by many families across various regions. This dish embodied the communal spirit of church gatherings, where sharing food was about more than just eating. It was about connection. Many remember this salad fondly as a staple that brought both familiarity and lightness to the potluck table. Watergate salad was a sweet and fluffy concoction that quickly gained popularity in the 1950s as a potluck staple. Named after the famous Watergate Hotel, this salad combined pistachio-flavored instant pudding mix, canned pineapple chunks, whipped topping, and miniature marshmallows for a uniquely textured and flavorful dessert. Its bright green color and creamy sweetness made it visually appealing and a favorite among families. Watergate salad was easy to prepare, requiring no baking or cooking, which made it perfect for busy church members contributing to community meals. The salad's balance of fruit and sweet creaminess offered a delightful finish to savory dishes on the table. It also showcased the growing influence of convenience foods and packaged ingredients that defined mid-century American cooking. Many families passed down their versions of the recipe, sometimes adding nuts or coconut for extra texture. The dish became a nostalgic symbol of 1950s social gatherings, evoking memories of shared meals and the simple joys of fellowship. Creamed tuna on toast points was a rich, savory appetizer that was a common sight at church socials during the 1950s. This dish consisted of canned tuna mixed with mayonnaise, chopped celery, onions, and seasoning to create a creamy spread. The mixture was then piled generously on small triangles of toasted bread, often cut from white sandwich loaves. The toast points offered a crisp base that contrasted with the smooth, flavorful tuna salad topping. Creamed tuna on toast was easy to prepare in large quantities, making it ideal for feeding groups at potlucks. The dish was both affordable and filling, relying on pantry staples that were readily available to most households. Its popularity stemmed from the combination of convenience and elegance, turning simple ingredients into an appealing finger food. It also reflected the era's love for seafood dishes adapted to social occasions. Many remember this appetizer as a classic element of mid-century entertaining that brought people together around the food table. Molded Jell-O with fruit and nuts was a visually striking and festive dish that often served as a centerpiece at 1950s church potlucks. These gelatin molds incorporated chunks of canned or fresh fruit, such as pineapple, cherries, or oranges, and sometimes nuts like walnuts or pecans, suspended throughout brightly colored Jell-O. The molds were typically made in decorative shapes using special ring or bundt pans, making them as attractive as they were tasty. Served chilled, these Jell-O dishes offered a sweet, slightly tangy contrast to more savory items on the table. They required no baking and could be prepared well in advance, lending convenience to hosts. Molded Jell-O was a symbol of mid-century culinary innovation, showcasing how simple ingredients could be transformed into elegant and festive offerings. The texture and flavor combinations made these desserts a nostalgic reminder of the era's social gatherings, where presentation was just as important as taste. Baked ham and pineapple ring was a popular festive dish that often graced 1950s church potluck tables during holidays and special occasions. This recipe featured a spiral-sliced ham baked with pineapple rings arranged on top, secured with maraschino cherries in the centers. The combination of the salty, smoky ham with the sweet, tangy pineapple created a harmonious balance of flavors that delighted many palates. The baking process caramelized the sugars in the pineapple and ham glaze, adding a rich, glossy finish. This dish was not only flavorful, but visually impressive, making it a centerpiece on buffet tables. It was practical for feeding large groups, as the ham could be sliced easily and served to many guests. The ham and pineapple ring reflected the mid-century American love of combining sweet and savory elements and the desire to create memorable dishes for community celebrations. It remains a nostalgic symbol of shared holiday meals and festive gatherings. Sweet pickled cauliflower was a tangy and crunchy addition to 1950s potluck spreads, bringing variety and flavor to the table. This dish involved pickling fresh cauliflower florets in a sweetened vinegar brine often infused with spices like mustard seed, cinnamon, and cloves. The result was a vibrant, flavorful vegetable side that combined the natural crunch of cauliflower with a pleasantly sharp sweetness. Pickled vegetables were popular because they could be prepared ahead of time and preserved for longer periods, making them ideal for community events. Sweet pickled cauliflower provided a refreshing contrast to heavier casseroles and baked dishes commonly served at church socials. Its bright appearance added color to the food table, while the unique flavor satisfied guests looking for something different. This dish showcased the resourcefulness and creativity of home cooks in the 1950s, who used pickling as a way to stretch seasonal produce and add zest to their meals. Peanut butter salad with shredded carrots was a surprising and uniquely textured dish that found its way onto many church potluck tables in the 1950s. This salad combined the creamy richness of peanut butter with the crunch and natural sweetness of shredded carrots, often mixed with mayonnaise, raisins, or pineapple tidbits to balance the flavors. Served chilled, it offered a cool and satisfying contrast to the warm, savory dishes that dominated the potluck spread. This dish was affordable and easy to prepare, relying on pantry staples that were accessible to most families. Its unusual combination appealed to adventurous palates and reflected the era's experimentation with mixing sweet and savory elements. Peanut butter salad was a conversation starter and a memorable part of many communal meals. It demonstrated how home cooks creatively incorporated new ingredients into traditional social gatherings, making it an enduring part of 1950s church food culture. Egg salad stuffed tomatoes were an elegant yet simple dish commonly brought to 1950s potlucks by those wanting to offer something a little special. This recipe involved hollowing out ripe tomatoes and filling them with classic egg salad made from chopped hard-boiled eggs, mayonnaise, mustard, and seasoning. The juicy tomato shells served as natural cups that held the creamy, flavorful filling, making for a visually appealing and portable appetizer. This dish was refreshing, light, and balanced the richness of egg salad with the acidity of fresh tomatoes. It was perfect for warm weather gatherings and easy to transport. Egg salad stuffed tomatoes combined homegrown produce with simple preparation to create a dish that was both tasty and attractive on the potluck table. Many remember these as a thoughtful addition that brought color and variety to church socials, highlighting mid-century culinary charm. Potato and cheese soup was a hearty, creamy soup that warmed many church members during 1950s potluck events, especially in colder months. This dish combined diced or mashed potatoes with a rich broth often enriched with cheese, milk, and butter to create a velvety texture and comforting flavor. Onions and celery were sometimes added to deepen the flavor profile. Potato and cheese soup was economical and nourishing, easily prepared in large batches to feed many hungry guests. It was commonly served with crusty bread or crackers to round out the meal. This soup represented the era's focus on wholesome, filling dishes that brought comfort and community together. Its simple ingredients belied its satisfying taste, making it a favorite at church dinners. For many, this soup remains a nostalgic reminder of shared meals and the warmth of fellowship during the mid-20th century. Cabbage rolls in tomato sauce were a beloved traditional dish that made frequent appearances at 1950s church potlucks, especially among families with Eastern European heritage. This recipe consisted of tender cabbage leaves wrapped around a filling of ground meat, rice, and seasoning, all simmered in a rich tomato sauce until tender and flavorful. The dish was hearty and filling, perfect for feeding large groups during social gatherings. Cabbage rolls could be prepared ahead of time and transported easily, making them ideal for community meals. The tomato sauce added acidity and depth, balancing the richness of the meat and rice filling. This dish reflected the cultural diversity within church communities and the shared love for comforting, home-cooked meals. Many recall cabbage rolls as a highlight of potluck tables, symbolizing tradition, care, and the joy of sharing good food with others. Cornbread dressing was a savory and flavorful side dish cherished at many 1950s church potlucks. Made by combining crumbled cornbread with sautéed onions, celery, herbs, and often broth or eggs, this dressing was baked to golden perfection. It was commonly served alongside roasted meats and poultry, providing a comforting, hearty accompaniment. The recipe made use of simple ingredients that were affordable and easy to prepare in large quantities, which was important for feeding crowds at community gatherings. Cornbread dressing reflected the Southern influence in many American kitchens, where cornbread was a staple. The dish's moist texture and rich herbaceous flavor made it a favorite among all ages. It also embodied the tradition of sharing home-cooked dishes that reminded families of holidays and Sunday dinners. This dressing was often passed down through generations, representing not just food but family history and church fellowship. Many still remember its distinct aroma and the way it brought warmth and fullness to the potluck table. Cranberry gelatin salad was a popular 1950s potluck dish that combined tart cranberries with the wobbly texture of gelatin, often enhanced by the addition of oranges or other citrus fruits. This tangy salad was made by dissolving flavored gelatin and folding in fresh or canned cranberries, along with chopped oranges or sometimes pineapple. The result was a brightly colored, refreshing dish served chilled that provided a sharp contrast to the richer, heavier casseroles and meats on the table. Cranberry gelatin salad was celebrated for its easy preparation and eye-catching appearance, making it a festive addition to any church gathering. The sweet and tart flavors balanced well, appealing to a wide range of tastes. This dish was especially popular during the holiday season, but found a place at many year-round potlucks. It exemplified the mid-century fascination with gelatin salads and the creative use of canned fruits, offering a nostalgic reminder of simpler times and communal celebrations. Baked stuffed peppers were a hearty and visually appealing dish often seen at 1950s church potlucks. This recipe involved hollowing out bell peppers and filling them with a savory mixture of seasoned ground meat, cooked rice, onions, and herbs. The stuffed peppers were then baked until the peppers were tender and the filling was cooked through, creating a comforting and satisfying main or side dish. Their individual servings made them convenient for portion control and attractive on buffet tables. Stuffed peppers allowed cooks to stretch modest amounts of meat by combining it with rice and vegetables, which was especially important for budget-conscious families. The vibrant colors of red, green, and yellow peppers added to the dish's festive presentation. This recipe was a way for church members to showcase culinary skill while providing nourishing food for their community. Baked stuffed peppers remain a nostalgic symbol of mid-century potluck creativity and shared meals. Oyster and celery salad was a vintage dish commonly brought to church socials in the 1950s, combining the briny richness of chopped oysters with the crisp freshness of celery. This cold salad typically mixed drained canned oysters with diced celery, mayonnaise, lemon juice, and seasonings to create a creamy yet textured dish. The salad offered a contrast of flavors and was served chilled, making it a refreshing appetizer or side during communal meals. Oyster and celery salad reflected the era's fondness for seafood dishes adapted to social occasions, often using affordable canned ingredients. Its combination of crunchy vegetables and tender seafood was a favorite among those who appreciated classic, comforting flavors. This salad was easy to prepare in advance, making it ideal for potlucks. Though less common today, many recall this dish fondly as a part of mid-century culinary tradition and church community gatherings. Homemade fruitcake squares were dense, richly flavored baked goods that held a special place on many 1950s potluck dessert tables. These cakes packed dried fruits like raisins, currants, and cherries into a moist batter often flavored with spices such as cinnamon, nutmeg, and cloves. Baked in large pans and cut into small squares, they were easy to serve and share among large groups. Fruitcake squares were popular during holiday seasons, but also appeared at year-round social events due to their long shelf life and satisfying sweetness. Their rich texture and complex flavors made them a beloved treat for many church members. The homemade aspect highlighted the care and tradition involved in passing down recipes from generation to generation. Fruitcake squares were more than just a dessert. They symbolized celebration, warmth, and community connection, evoking memories of fellowship and shared joy. Spiced pickled beets were a tangy and colorful side dish that added a punch of flavor and brightness to 1950s potluck spreads. This recipe involved pickling cooked beets in a sweetened vinegar solution infused with warm spices like cinnamon sticks, cloves, and allspice berries. The result was a balance of sweet, sour, and spicy notes that complemented the natural earthiness of the beets. Pickled beets could be prepared ahead of time and stored for weeks, making them convenient for busy cooks. Their deep red color added visual appeal to tables filled with casseroles and baked goods. Spiced pickled beets represented the resourcefulness of mid-century homemakers who preserved seasonal produce to enjoy year-round. Their unique flavor and texture offered guests a refreshing alternative to heavier dishes. This dish remains a nostalgic reminder of the creative ways communities stretched ingredients and added zest to communal meals. Scalloped oysters were a beloved seafood casserole that became a classic at many 1950s church potlucks, especially in coastal communities. This dish layered fresh or canned oysters in a creamy sauce often made from butter, milk or cream, flour, and seasonings, then topped with breadcrumbs or grated cheese before baking. The result was a rich, bubbly casserole that combined tender oysters with a golden crust. Scalloped oysters showcased the era's affection for comfort food and the creative use of available seafood. They were economical, yet elegant, offering a taste of the sea that was accessible to many families. The casserole was usually served hot and paired well with simple side dishes like salads or bread. Its popularity endured because it balanced indulgence with practicality, making it a treasured dish that brought people together at church socials. Carrot soufflé was a sweet and creamy baked dish frequently seen at church potlucks in the 1950s. Made by combining cooked mashed carrots with sugar, eggs, butter, and often a touch of flour or cornstarch, this soufflé was baked until puffed and lightly browned. The dish offered a delicate sweetness and smooth texture that balanced savory items on the table. Carrot soufflé was prized for its ability to make a simple vegetable feel special and festive. It was an affordable way to add color and nutrition to communal meals. The light sweetness appealed to both adults and children, making it a versatile side dish or dessert option. Carrot soufflé reflected the mid-century focus on homely, comforting dishes that celebrated seasonal produce. Its presence on potluck tables was a reminder of home cooking's warmth and creativity during social gatherings. Turkey and rice casserole was a hearty and comforting dish that made frequent appearances at 1950s church potlucks, especially in the weeks following holidays. This casserole typically combined leftover cooked turkey with cooked rice, cream of mushroom or celery soup, and sometimes vegetables or cheese, all baked together until hot and bubbly. It was an efficient and delicious way to stretch leftover meat while feeding many guests. The creamy texture and savory flavors made it satisfying and easy to prepare in advance. Turkey and rice casserole was practical, economical, and emblematic of mid-century resourcefulness in home cooking. The dish was often served with simple sides or salads, making it a complete meal for community gatherings. Many remember it as a staple that brought comfort and warmth to the table, representing the spirit of sharing and celebration. Pineapple cheese spread was a sweet and tangy party dip that found a place on many 1950s church social tables. This spread blended sharp cheddar cheese with crushed pineapple, mayonnaise, and sometimes cream cheese, creating a creamy yet flavorful mixture perfect for crackers or vegetable sticks. The combination of the savory cheese and sweet pineapple provided a delightful contrast that appealed to a broad audience. Pineapple cheese spread was easy to prepare and could be made ahead, making it ideal for busy potluck hosts. Its bright flavor and unique texture set it apart from more traditional spreads. This dish reflected the era's love for combining unexpected ingredients into new taste experiences. Many church members fondly remember it as a signature party item that added variety and excitement to gatherings, embodying the mid-century spirit of innovation and communal joy around food. In the post-war era, when convenience foods were revolutionizing the American kitchen, Angel's ambrosia pie emerged as a sweet symbol of the times. This chilled, no-bake dessert combined fruit cocktail, shredded coconut, and marshmallows folded into a creamy base, all nestled in a graham cracker crust. It was inspired by ambrosia salad, a classic Southern dish with roots in 19th century holiday traditions. But here, it was given a modern twist, easy to prepare and perfect for the church potluck circuit. Practicality was one of the pie's greatest strengths. With canned fruit cocktail and pre-made crusts widely available, the ingredients were budget-friendly and accessible. The recipe required no cooking, making it an ideal choice for busy homemakers balancing everything from Sunday school prep to feeding a family. Its versatility was another draw. The filling could be adjusted with fresh fruits, whipped cream, or even a splash of fruit juice to suit personal preferences. So, why did this dessert lose its spot on the picnic table? As palates evolved and fresh ingredients became more accessible, dishes relying on canned and processed components fell out of favor. Ewing Steele's orange rolls are a wholesome little pit stop in Southern and Midwestern cooking. They're fluffy, sweet, and just about the opposite of everything you've come to expect so far on this list. The dish itself refers to a pretty specific variant that got popular throughout the South. Ewing Steele himself is known for making these. I mean, it's in the name. But the rolls themselves represented a lot. They had typical American baking traditions such as puff pastries and buttery rolls, but they mixed that in with oranges, sweet tastes, and really comforting textures. That was common in Southern desserts, so it was a blend of both points of American cooking. Now, while people believe that Ewing Steele made it, they aren't sure, because there's no documented recipe or cookbook that shows us a process of him developing the dish. All we know is that it first popped up in the South, and then it popped up at everyone's potlucks. Those bright citrus flavors were the perfect thing to bring to a potluck. In the heyday of retro desserts, Charity cherry salad was a shining star at potlucks and family gatherings. This chilled dish combined bright maraschino cherries, velvety cream cheese, and fluffy whipped topping, creating a dessert that was as vibrant as it was indulgent. Served in elegant glass bowls or set in decorative molds, it added a touch of flair to any church supper table. The popularity of dishes like this can be traced back to the mid-20th century, when refrigeration revolutionized home cooking. Desserts that could be prepared ahead of time and served cold became the ultimate convenience for busy homemakers. Maraschino cherries, first commercialized in the early 1900s, were a pantry favorite thanks to their long shelf life and striking red color. Blending them with cream cheese and whipped topping was a clever way to create a dessert that felt rich but remained affordable. Despite its charm, Charity cherry salad fell out of fashion as modern palates shifted away from overly sweet processed ingredients. The rise of fresh fruit salads and lighter desserts in the late 20th century further sealed its fate. Pineapple cheese casserole is one of those dishes that seems a bit strange at first, but once you take that first bite, you'll be hooked. The sweet, tangy pineapple chunks pair surprisingly well with the sharp, savory cheddar cheese, creating a perfect blend of sweet and savory that you didn't know you needed. Often served as a side dish, this casserole combines the richness of cheese with the brightness of pineapple, making it a unique and flavorful addition to any meal. Whether served alongside ham or roasted chicken, pineapple cheese casserole always stood out at church potlucks for its ability to balance flavors that normally wouldn't go together. It's sweet, it's cheesy, and it's downright delicious. And as surprising as this dish may seem, there's another salad coming up that layers together ingredients in a way that you won't want to miss. Get ready for a dish that will bring even more excitement to the table. Fresh, vibrant, and undeniably wholesome, Fellowship fruit kebabs were a beacon of color on church picnic tables. In an era when gelatin molds and mayonnaise-based salads reigned supreme, these skewers offered a refreshing alternative. Simple yet elegant, they featured a variety of seasonal fruits: pineapple, melon, grapes, and berries, artfully arranged on sticks and drizzled with a honey-lime glaze. The practicality of fruit kebabs was one of their biggest selling points. Easy to assemble, they required no utensils, making them a perfect grab-and-go option for outdoor gatherings. Plus, their versatility made them universally appealing. Whether you preferred tropical fruit, classic apple chunks, or a mix of whatever was on sale, the recipe adapted to suit any budget or taste. Add in the bright, tangy kick of honey and lime, and you had a snack that balanced natural sweetness with a touch of zest. So, what caused this recipe to slip into obscurity? Partly, the rise of pre-cut fruit platters took away the need for the extra effort. Additionally, the modern obsession with charcuterie boards and grazing tables overshadowed the humble kebab. In the 1980s and 1990s, lighter, vegetable-forward dishes began making their way onto picnic tables as health-conscious trends gained momentum. Spaghetti pie casserole is probably one of the first instances we have of fusion food overtaking common American interests. While it doesn't really have a well-documented starting point in history like some other burgers and loaves do, it is pretty interesting to see the kind of pipeline this place has taken. The casserole craze in the middle of the 20th century reflected the broader interest of Americans dipping their toes into foreign cuisines, especially whatever the French and Italians had cooked up. Something about their kitchens was irresistible to most people. People seem to believe that this dish got its inspiration from lasagna and baked ziti, which I can't lie makes sense. Both of those have been a big part of Italian-American culture for ages now, and spaghetti, despite not being typical in Italy, has become a really popular choice for American homes. A spaghetti pie itself was purely a home chef classic, though, and it was thanks to how available processed ingredients were becoming. Now that you could just buy pre-made crusts and spaghetti packets, a lot of the work that people associated with it before just went up in the air. You may not believe this, but it was actually easy to prepare for this. The 1970s were a golden age for layered desserts, and few could compete with the indulgent simplicity of a dessert built on butterscotch pudding, whipped topping, and a graham cracker crust. This was the era of quick-fix elegance, when convenience foods met the creativity of home cooks determined to make something memorable. Blessed Butterscotch Delight was a perfect example. Rich, creamy, and easy to assemble, it became a favorite at church potlucks and family gatherings. The popularity of butterscotch pudding soared during the mid-20th century, largely thanks to its warm, caramel-like flavor and versatility. Paired with graham crackers, which were already a pantry staple, and whipped topping, a revolutionary product that simplified dessert making, it was a dessert that anyone could whip up with minimal effort. And let's not forget the charm of its layered presentation, which made it feel just fancy enough to stand out on a crowded dessert table. So, why did it fade away? By the 1990s, pre-made desserts and lighter options had taken over. The heavy reliance on processed ingredients didn't help, as health trends began favoring fresh fruits and whole grains over pudding mixes and whipped toppings. Old-fashioned stewed apples is the kind of dish that evokes instant nostalgia. Slow cooked to perfection with cinnamon, butter, and brown sugar, these apples fill the house with a warm, comforting aroma that instantly transports you back to simpler times. Served in classic glass Pyrex dishes, this sweet, tender dessert was often found at church picnics and family gatherings where it was a reliable crowd pleaser. The apples soften as they cook, absorbing all the flavors of the cinnamon and brown sugar, creating a syrupy, rich sauce that you could almost drink by itself. It's a dish that doesn't need to be fancy to be loved. Just the right balance of sweet and spicy, with that home-cooked heartwarming feeling. It's perfect on its own, or as a topping for ice cream or pound cake. But if you think stewed apples are the ultimate comfort dessert, there's a salad coming up that has just as much nostalgic value. Stay tuned for the next dish. In the world of potlucks and church picnics, the holy hoagie dip was the kind of dish that sparked curiosity and kept people coming back for seconds. Inspired by the classic Italian hoagie, this creamy dip combined diced deli meats like salami and ham, provolone cheese, crisp lettuce, tomatoes, onions, and zesty Italian dressing, all folded into a creamy mayonnaise base. Served with toasted baguette slices or crackers, it was essentially a hoagie deconstructed and ready to share. No messy sandwiches required. The dip's rise in popularity during the late 20th century mirrored America's love for Italian-inspired cuisine and the growing trend of turning traditional dishes into crowd-friendly dips. Its versatility made it a potluck superstar. Adjust the meats, toss in some hot peppers for spice, or lighten it up with low-fat ingredients. The options were endless. Plus, its no-cook preparation meant less time in the kitchen and more time enjoying the gathering. So why did it fade into obscurity? Part of the decline can be attributed to a cultural shift toward lighter, healthier fare. The cream-based dips of yesteryear gave way to hummus and veggie platters. Cucumber canapés, on the other hand, are something else entirely. This time around, you can definitely tell where they came from. Just a quick look at their history will point you right to 18th century France, where a canapé was the new trend in town. Fast forward just a little bit to when the first French and European immigrants started coming around to America, and you'll figure out that they actually brought this recipe over with them. Why was this something that did well, though? If you've ever heard of the 1960s, you'll hear the phrase health consciousness thrown around a lot. There was a good reason for that too, but the seeds of all the vegetable-heavy dieting shifts of the later decades were sown during this time. There was a small but progressively louder community of concerned parents and doctors who were voicing their opinions. They firmly believed American diets were bad, just flat-out bad for you. The best thing to do then was to eat greener, and what says green and clean like a cucumber? Okay, corny metaphors aside, it really did help make a gradual and daily shift towards better eating habits. A canapé itself was just a series of small bites with lots of different bread and cracker toppings. But this puff pastry ended up being just what people needed. Baked apple desserts have long been a staple of American cooking, and Alter Apple Betty was a quintessential example of turning humble ingredients into something extraordinary. Made with sliced apples, a fragrant cinnamon-spiced oat topping, and brown sugar for sweetness, this dish was a warm, rustic treat that often graced church potluck tables and family dinners alike. Its roots can be traced back to colonial America, where frugal cooks used seasonal fruits and pantry staples to create desserts that didn't require elaborate preparation. The beauty of Apple Betty was its simplicity. No pie crust to fuss over, just a quick assembly of apples and a crumbly topping that baked to golden perfection. It was versatile, too, ideal as a dessert, a sweet breakfast, or even a snack when served cold. So why isn't it as common today? As dessert trends shifted, Apple Betty faced stiff competition from flashier options like pies, cobblers, and crisps. The recipe's old-fashioned simplicity, once a selling point, became overshadowed by desserts that promised more indulgence or visual appeal. Alter Apple. Betty remains a nostalgic reminder of kitchens where everything was made from scratch and desserts were heartfelt contributions to the table. Peach dump cake is the ultimate no-fuss dessert that's perfect for any gathering, especially church potlucks and family picnics. The recipe is as simple as it sounds: canned peaches, yellow cake mix, and a stick of butter, all dumped into a pan and baked until golden and bubbly. The peaches soften and meld with the cake mix, creating a rich, syrupy base that's both sweet and comforting. The cake mix forms a crumbly topping that's slightly crisp, adding texture to the dish and balancing the softness of the peaches underneath. The best part? It's incredibly easy to make, and yet it tastes like it took much more effort. Peach dump cake is a perfect dessert when you need something quick, delicious, and crowd-pleasing. It's warm, sweet, and always brings a sense of nostalgia, reminding everyone of simpler times when desserts were just as much about convenience as they were about flavor. Whether served on its own or with a scoop of vanilla ice cream, this dessert is a classic. And if you think this is the best way to end a meal, wait until you see the next dish, a casserole that's hearty, flavorful, and incredibly satisfying. In the mid-20th century, before charcuterie boards became the height of culinary fashion, there was the humble yet beloved righteous relish tray. A staple at church picnics and potlucks, this platter featured an assortment of pickles, olives, and pickled vegetables, often accompanied by crackers or crusty bread. Simple yet striking, it was the perfect blend of salty, tangy, and crunchy, an ideal prelude to heartier fare. The historical roots of the relish tray can be traced back to a time when home canning was common, and pickled vegetables were a way to preserve the harvest. Offering an array of pickles at a gathering was not only practical, but also a point of pride for the home cooks who had prepared them. The versatility of the tray was another advantage. It could include anything from classic dill pickles and sweet gherkins to pickled carrots, onions, or even spicy peppers, making it easy to tailor to personal tastes or seasonal availability. So why has the relish tray largely vanished from modern tables? The rise of convenience foods played a big role. Store-bought appetizers and snack mixes replaced the need for handcrafted platters. Italian hot dishes, on the other hand, are a Minnesota classic. You couldn't go a day in the streets of the upper Midwest without being dazzled by all the different kinds of fragrances. By strong, alluring scents, I really just mean everyone's and their grandma's different takes on a hot dish. It was a tradition that came during the rise of casseroles in the 1950s, and it was something that became a pantry staple at one point. Casseroles were sort of the thing to eat back then because you could just get everything done with them. They became one of the most popular meals to make for home chefs because there wasn't a dinner where somebody would pout and go like, "Aw, casserole?" Even if it wasn't a lot each and every time, people still got visibly excited seeing mom pop out of the kitchen with some casserole. Italian hot dishes especially were something to celebrate because it meant she was really going all out for the occasion. Despite this dish not really having much Italian history, it caught the name because it uses a lot of Italian staples. You have your tomato sauces, your pasta, and of course the freshest kind of cheese you could find. If anything, it definitely has Italian stereotypes. The cheese log, simple yet sophisticated, was a centerpiece of 1970s entertaining, and the chapel cheese log was a classic example of its enduring charm. A blend of cream cheese, shredded cheddar, and seasonings rolled in crushed nuts, this dish was as much about presentation as it was about flavor. Paired with crackers, it graced countless church potlucks and holiday spreads, offering a bite-sized burst of creamy, nutty indulgence. The origins of the cheese log can be traced back to mid-century culinary trends, when convenience and elegance often went hand in hand. Cheese logs became a staple in the 1960s and 70s, popularized by their ease of preparation and adaptability. Home cooks could mix in herbs, spices, or even dried fruit to suit their tastes, making it versatile for various occasions. Its cylindrical shape and nutty coating also made it easy to transport, a key factor for church gatherings. So why did this once celebrated appetizer fall out of favor? As the 1980s ushered in fancier hors d'oeuvres and international cuisines, the humble cheese log started to feel a bit dated. Prepackaged cheese spreads also gained popularity, offering a more convenient alternative. Cabbage roll casserole takes the beloved classic cabbage rolls and transforms them into an easier, more accessible version without sacrificing any of the delicious flavors. Instead of rolling individual cabbage leaves, everything is layered into a casserole dish, making preparation faster and cleanup easier. Ground beef, rice, and cabbage come together in a savory tomato sauce, creating a hearty, satisfying meal that's perfect for any occasion. The cabbage becomes tender and flavorful, while the ground beef adds richness, and the rice provides a comforting texture. The tomato sauce ties everything together, offering a slightly tangy, savory note that elevates the dish. Cabbage roll casserole has been a staple in many homes for its ability to feed a large group without requiring hours of preparation. It's the kind of dish that's perfect for church dinners, family gatherings, or even a simple weeknight meal. Whether served with a side of cornbread or a fresh salad, it's always a hit. And if you think this casserole is the ultimate comfort food, stay tuned for the next recipe, a sweet treat that's just as nostalgic and satisfying. Mid-century America loved a dish that could pull double duty, easy to prepare and satisfying enough to feed a crowd. Picnic pea salad supreme fit the bill perfectly. This chilled salad, made with sweet green peas, crispy bacon, shredded cheddar, and a creamy dressing, was a real statement. In an era when canned and frozen vegetables were kitchen staples, this salad offered a way to transform humble peas into something extraordinary. It became a picnic regular, especially in the Midwest, where hearty and easy-to-make recipes reigned supreme. What made this dish so practical was its adaptability. The ingredients were pantry-friendly, the preparation was straightforward, and it held up well outdoors. No one likes a salad that wilts before the blessing. Its sweet and savory flavors appealed to kids and adults alike, and its vibrant colors made it visually appealing on any potluck table. Plus, bacon and cheddar, arguably the ultimate crowd-pleasing duo, did a lot of the heavy lifting. So, what happened? Well, somewhere along the line, supreme salads lost their shine. Health-conscious trends and the rise of pre-made options nudged recipes like this into obscurity. Southern Soul chili is pretty much exactly what you'd expect that to taste like. You put the words Southern Soul and chili together, and you paint a pretty colorful picture of the Southwest and Texas potlucks. The evolution of this dish is actually pretty closely rooted in Native American, Mexican, and Spanish cultures, though. Over time, it's begun to involve all kinds of things, like beef and chili peppers and even tomatoes and beans. The beans were a pretty new addition, because it wasn't until the Depression that people began to use pinto beans and kidney beans. Even black-eyed beans were things that people took to a lot. Southern soul chili in general was a unique spin that drew a lot of its style from soul food staples and a lot of its flavors from Southern cuisine. You had the chili and the focus on natural ingredients, which was something you'd get from soul food. Still, the smoked meats and sweet potatoes were unmistakable. That was a Southern classic if I've ever seen one. Where else do you see that much smoked brisket being used, or that much pulled pork? Either way, this makes for one really explosive chili, so try it at your own risk. Testimony turnip greens, slow-cooked with ham hocks and a splash of vinegar, embodied the resourcefulness of generations who turned humble ingredients into dishes full of flavor and meaning. At church potlucks and family tables, this dish was a testament to heritage and community. Turnip greens have deep roots in Southern cooking, where they were valued for their nutritional benefits and availability. Paired with ham hocks, a cost-effective way to infuse smoky, savory richness, this dish became a staple of rural kitchens. The addition of vinegar not only brightened the greens, but also reflected an age-old culinary practice of balancing rich and tangy flavors. For many families, it was a versatile dish, often served alongside cornbread to soak up the pot liquor, the nutrient-rich broth left behind. But as tastes changed and cooking habits evolved, slow-cooked greens began to fall out of favor. The rise of faster, more convenient vegetable preparations made the hours-long simmering process feel outdated. Moreover, the strong, earthy flavor of turnip greens didn't appeal to everyone, especially younger generations. Still, for those who grew up with them, turnip greens are a reminder of a time when cooking wasn't rushed, and meals were an opportunity to savor both food and fellowship. Egg salad on white bread with paprika is one of the quintessential church finger sandwiches, served at baby showers, church teas, and family picnics. The classic combo of creamy egg salad, a touch of mayonnaise, and just the right amount of paprika, all nestled between two slices of soft white bread, was a staple at any church event. The eggs were chopped finely, blended with creamy mayo, and seasoned simply with salt, pepper, and paprika to create the perfect balance of flavor. The paprika on top added a gentle kick, making it more than just a simple sandwich. It was a true classic. Light, flavorful, and easy to eat with one hand, this sandwich always disappeared quickly at any gathering, If you think these finger sandwiches are the ultimate church snack, there's another spread that's even more irresistible, one that's perfect for crackers, celery, or even more sandwiches. Get ready for the next dish. In the mid-1900s, elegance and practicality often found their way onto the same plate, especially at church picnics and social gatherings. Righteous ribbon sandwiches were a shining example of this fusion, a visually striking, multi-layered finger sandwich that was as much a feast for the eyes as it was for the stomach. These sandwiches combined cream cheese, thinly sliced cucumbers, and pimento spread, layered between vibrant slices of white and rye bread. The name may have sounded fancy, but the recipe was delightfully simple, showcasing the resourcefulness of home cooks. Ribbon sandwiches were the epitome of versatility. They could be made in advance, sliced into perfect little portions, and adapted to suit almost any flavor profile. Need a vegetarian option? No problem. Add more vegetables. Want something heartier? Swap in a layer of ham or chicken salad. Their small size made them easy to serve and eat, ensuring that no one risked losing their sandwich during a spirited game of horseshoes. So, why don't we see them anymore? As trends shifted toward more casual grab-and-go fare, the labor-intensive ribbon sandwiches slowly fell out of favor. Spanakopita, on the other hand, is a traditionally Greek dish. This is a savory pie, and it makes a lot of use of some ingredients you don't typically see as the main stars of the show in America. You have parsley, dill, and spinach as far as herbs and greens go, and feta cheese. Top it off with some caramelized onions, and you're good to go. By far, though, the most interesting thing people use here is phyllo dough. This dough was pretty much the trademark of the pie itself in Greece. It gave the pie a really unique and buttery taste that made it stand out in comparison to the fluffier, heavier doughs that people were using at the time. Traditional pizza dough, for example, was a lot less delicate. You could say that people began to think of fusing spanakopita, which was a really niche dish, by the way, with pizza thanks to the fusion food trends that were going around back then. I think this comes from Mediterranean cuisine, since it has a lot of those flavors. The flaky dough and the use of olive oil to butter it make this a much more interesting pizza than what you would typically expect. During an era when convenience reigned supreme, few desserts captured the hearts of church potlucks quite like a no-bake peanut butter pie. With its creamy, sweet peanut butter filling nestled inside a graham cracker crust, pious peanut butter pie became a symbol of simplicity and indulgence. It was rich, satisfying, and best of all, didn't require turning on the oven, a blessing for busy cooks and warm kitchens. The origins of this dessert lie in the mid-century love affair with peanut butter, which soared in popularity thanks to its affordability and versatility. Pairing it with sweetened condensed milk and whipped topping, staples of the time, turned humble ingredients into a decadent treat. The graham cracker crust, first popularized in the 1930s, added a buttery crunch that balanced the pie's smooth filling. It was practical, easy to assemble, and required little more than a refrigerator to set. Yet, as dessert trends evolved, this pie began to fade from favor. The rise of more elaborate, multi-layered confections and a push toward healthier eating made its rich, calorie-dense filling seem out of step with modern tastes. Ambrosia salad is one of those desserts that could brighten up any gathering. A perfect blend of fruit, marshmallows, and a creamy dressing, it's a dish that embodies everything we love about classic church potluck food: sweet, refreshing, and easy to make. Whether it's served at Christmas dinners, family picnics, or Sunday services, ambrosia salad always brings a sense of celebration to the table. The mixture of fruits like mandarin oranges and pineapple combined with mini marshmallows creates a colorful and festive dish that everyone loves. The creamy dressing, often made with sour cream or whipped topping, ties it all together, adding just the right amount of sweetness. It's a dish that can be thrown together in minutes but still feels special. And if you think ambrosia salad is a fun way to end a meal, wait until you try the next dish, a sweet, fruity classic that's just as delicious. Prayerful pasta primavera salad was one of these newcomers, combining tender pasta with fresh, crisp vegetables like bell peppers, cherry tomatoes, and zucchini. Tossed in a zesty Italian vinaigrette, this cold salad brought vibrant colors and refreshing flavors to any gathering, offering a welcome reprieve from heavier dishes. This salad excelled in versatility and practicality. It could be prepared a day ahead, allowing the flavors to meld together beautifully. And it traveled well, perfect for outdoor church picnics. The recipe was also flexible. Any combination of vegetables could be used, depending on what was in season or on hand. Even picky eaters could find something to enjoy in its customizable mix. Add a sprinkle of Parmesan, and it could easily transition from a simple side dish to a more filling option. So, why has it become a rarity? As pre-packaged pasta salads and pre-made dressings became widely available, the labor of chopping fresh vegetables and mixing homemade vinaigrettes seemed less appealing. Modern convenience overshadowed the care that went into making this dish. Which lost church recipe is your favorite? Comment below, like if you enjoyed, and subscribe for more nostalgic bites.